Adam Kingsley joins me now. He's an absolute ripper, and it's been a very busy few months for him. Kingers, thanks so much for your time.
No worries, Kane. Thanks for having me.
How are you, mate? I've just sat back and watched with interest the amount of work that you've put in, getting so close to the Collingwood job. I think you ran second to Craig McRae. You must be doing something right, and then the Carlton opportunity came up. What's the last few months been like?
Oh, it's been pretty busy. The Collingwood process was during the season too, so that made it a little bit more difficult. Just making sure that our boys were fully prepared to play the remaining games out, and then that's obviously the Carlton job was a little bit later than that. So yeah, pretty disappointed to be fair, but great experience, and certainly will hopefully help in the future.
What goes into it, King, is how many hours, what's involved in putting your hand up for such a big job like Collingwood?
Oh, you just put together a presentation that, there's a couple of chats with those boys, one informally, and then the presentation itself is about me as a coach and what I believe in, and essentially, that the macro of how I'll coach and what I expect, what sort of culture do I think works. A little bit of the list, so just various departments of football and how we play, and so game style and how I coach it and teach it. So various things that are obviously put together to make a successful footy team, and it's the same with each candidate. And Fly was obviously really impressive with his as well.
Do you take the optimistic view that you are so close? You're basically the next one. I know every club's different with what they're looking for, but how is your attitude? Do you have a couple of days to get really down and then you quickly move on? What's your attitude like right now?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously the disappointment that ensues missing out on a job that you really desire is quite strong. So, once you get over that, the reality is that I'm thereabouts, but I'm not there. And so I've got work to do. And so I get back to work and try and improve myself as a coach. And the beauty about that is that in itself will improve our players and our footy club. And so hopefully, makes Richmond stronger as well as myself. So that's my attitude. I missed out. I was close on a couple of jobs that I really, as I said, really desire, but I'm not there, and I've got to get to work and improve.
Do you get feedback on why you didn't get the job?
Yeah, you do. There's some stuff there that I need to work on, and that's just part of growing, really, isn't it? Getting feedback and then acting upon it. So I was really pleased that I was able to get some feedback from both clubs, and I'll now get to work on trying to improve.
Can you tell us what those areas are, or would you rather keep it private?
Oh no, the overriding factor was the running a football department, and it appeared that both Fly and Vossi particularly came across as being stronger in that area, really. And I know Vossi ran the leadership program, sat in a senior assistant role, managing various aspects of Port Adelaide. So that's something that I need to work on and try and get experience in managing people other than the players that play directly under me. And that's something that certainly Dimmer and Tim Livingston and Blair Hartley at Richmond have been really strong at trying to provide those opportunities for me. So I'm really I'm at the right club to improve and hopefully one day be able to become a senior coach.
Yeah, so that interests me as well because, Richmond, you could say, well, all we care about is winning. We want to put the best coaching department in place to win. And Adam Kingsley's strength is this, so we're going to put him in that role. But for you, it's probably not going to satisfy you because you want other experiences so you can develop and grow. So how important was your decision to stay at Richmond based on the opportunities that you may get to help you get to where you want to go?
Oh, really important. I mean, the fact is I'm under contract at Richmond also, so the move wasn't an option in reality. But Richmond is such that yes, they will put me where they think that I'll best complement everyone else. So place me where my strengths are, but also really work hard to try and develop not only myself but each person within the organisation, and that's a real strength of the football club. That's a real strength of Damien, and it's a real strength of our guys in charge. You know, our footy managers in Blair and Tim, and certainly the exposure to different elements to that is going to be really good.
Have you thought about coaching your own team at a lower level?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a hard one because, I think you get the experiences of managing the club and the different staff, but you also remove yourself out of the AFL system potentially in doing so. And, I've kind of thought about it, but the reality is I just love what I do at this moment. And if I can't do that and improve to satisfy a selection panel, well, so be it. That's the way it'll fall, and I'm prepared to cop that. But the reality is, I just love what I do at the moment, and that's what I want to do.
Adam Kingsley's our guest this morning. Got so close to a Collingwood job, also right down to the wire with a Carlton job. The two clubs and the way that they ran the process, Kingers, was there some similarities? Were they both similar, or were there big differences in it?
No, both similar. Both similar. Informal chat and then a presentation to a selection committee. They were a little ways apart given the time frames that both clubs were on, but the processes were quite similar.
And I wonder if you had any reservations about either club because of the uncertainty for different reasons at both clubs, the uncertainty at board level at Collingwood, and then the drama that went on with the Blues and Rossline and all of that. Any reservations? Obviously not.
Yeah, there were. I mean, the reality is, I had some really high-quality coaches available on the market, and you kind of wonder whether or not processes are legitimate, and or are they just running it to be seen, to be legitimate? But ultimately, they've always got their man. And I mean, clearly, if Clarko's available, you're going to hire him. So why would you bother with anyone else? And that is completely understandable. Ross Lyon, so there's Nathan Buckley even was spoken about when I was midway through the Carlton process. There were some reservations, it's fair to say, but I was assured the process was legitimate, and both processes were, from what I understand. And the reality is, I just missed out on it. I got beaten by two better people at the moment. So, that's kind of sparked me into action, to be fair.
What role does the Coaches Association have in this, King? As I've interviewed a number of assistant coaches throughout the year, and they don't think the support is strong enough. Strong voices coming out of Port Adelaide. They've written an open letter to the Coaches Association. Are you supported enough in making sure the process you're going through isn't token, or they're just running it when they've got their man, and then the follow-up to when you miss out on a job like this? Are you supported enough, and is the industry of assistant coaches supported enough?
Yeah, I think your support comes from various people. Well, that's what I've found anyway. So I'm more than well and truly supported enough. My support comes from obviously friends and family. It comes from the club that I'm at, Richmond. There was a little bit from the from the Coaches Association, certainly. Certainly, Alistair Nicholson reached out and spoke to me. And offered any support he could. So I feel very well supported from certainly the Coaches Association, as you asked, but many others as well.
Now you turn your attention to the Tigers and getting them back into the finals. There's a couple of changes to the coaching department. Xavier Clark comes in, I think, and David Teague has been added to the assistant coaching makeup. So how will the structure work? Has that been decided?
Well, it'll basically be a plug and play from from what we've done in terms of 3 line coaches and offensive coach. So Xavier Clark, he was coaching the forwards midway through last year, so he'll continue to do that. I'll remain defenders and team defence, and Teague will come in and run the offence. Andrew McQualter will do the stoppages. So that's a familiar structure to us. Sam Lonigan will be head of development, and Steve Morris has just been announced as the VFL coach, which is great for him. Who, pretty much this year he donated his time just to support the VFL program and our development program. So it's great that he's been able to be rewarded with that to now coach the VFL team. So the structure in itself, the coaching group, we're a really strong coaching group. Adding Teague will be really good for us. I've worked with Teague at St Kilda many years ago, and he's a ripping fellow, really pleasant company and knows his stuff. So I think he's going to be a great addition to our coaching group.
And it's trade period, King. I don't know if you get involved at all. You probably do because you're absolutely a footy nut, of course. But Richmond, an exciting prospect with the picks that you've got and potentially making some moves, but losing a couple of young key position players. How much will that hurt? And the second part is, what areas do you think the list needs to address?
Yeah, look, the first part, losing those guys does hurt. I mean, we wanted to keep those guys. They're both quality players. Clearly young. I mean, Marbs is 24, maybe 25 now. So, I mean, his was around. Well, they're really both around opportunity, aren't they? But Marbs had that opportunity to move at his free will. So he's chosen what is a great contract for him up at Gold Coast, closer to his family. So really pleased for him. Obviously disappointed for us. And CJ's a 21, 22-year-old key position player. Can play forward, can play ruck. So, to be fair, those guys, they're few and far between, to be frank. And the fact that we're losing him is disappointing. As I understand it, he wants a little bit more opportunity to play in the ruck, and North Melbourne have been able to offer that to him. And given our strength with Nankervis and Soldo coming back after a knee injury from last year, we can't necessarily guarantee that, obviously. So, disappointing, but that's that's the power that the players have now, isn't it? They're able to sort of mix and match and move whenever they feel like it. It feels like so. We've got quite a strong draft hand. I'm sure we'll bring in a lot of good players. Losing a couple hurts. And then you look to where we're losing them. It's probably when you look at both Marbs and CJ, ruck, forward rucks, whatever they are. Jack Rewalt, what is he, 32, 33. Tom Lynch is sort of late 20s, I think. To lose 2 key position players really out of your forwards group stresses that a little bit. So I'm not sure if that's an area that Matty Clark will target in the draft. A couple of key position forwards, I'm not sure, but it's certainly losing a couple sort of upsets your balance a little bit.
No doubt. When will you make a call on the captain, do you think?
I think that'll be towards the end of pre-season. I'm not privy to those discussions, but even if they're being had yet, I doubt they actually have. But that'll play itself out. We'll run a process over the pre-season. Our guys will get to work, and then Shane McCurry runs our leadership and culture. He will have a process whereby our players and our staff nominate, I would imagine, and out of that will come our captain. And the beauty or the strength of our group at the moment is we feel like we have half a dozen really strong candidates to be able to assume that title and really lead our club forward. And then it depends on, I guess, which style of captain we go for. Do we go for the hard, tough on-field leader, or are we looking for more the off-field orator type, whereby they can provide great support and instruction. That'll be interesting to see which way we choose.
It will be. Before we let you go, Wednesday 1, when are you back?
Well, we're not back. The players aren't back till November 22, I think. So it's a fair break for them, and in particular this year, given we came off the end of October grand final last year and had essentially a 5-week pre-season. Our players are certainly looking forward to getting back. They've still got a bit of time. But that being said, given the current circumstances in Melbourne with the lockdown, our players have certainly been getting to work, and they're permitted to come into the club to work out. So we've had a large majority of our group in most days, either lifting weights or running or doing their running sessions together or having a kick of the footy. So, certainly well advanced to what we were last year.
Well, King, thanks for sharing your insights, mate. It's fascinating for me and footy fans out there listening to what goes through a coaching process and the disappointment when it doesn't fall your way. You will be back. There is no doubt about that. And I'll look forward to the day that you are announced as a senior coach, mate. Appreciate it. And thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate. Thanks,
Adam
mate.
Kingsley joining us this morning. Richmond assistant coach, ran second in the Collingwood job and very close to also being the new Carlton coach as well.